Okay, welcome back everyone. I hope you had a good end of year exam. Hope you're pleased with your results and you're ready to work hard this half of term because we've got to get an awful lot done. I want to get the first two sections of your NEA. That's what we're going to be working on now, your non-exam assessment, I think it is, completed before the end of the academic year, which is going to take a lot of work. And talking about work, I just want to say that a lot of people are going to be out for various reasons, D&V and so forth, in the coming weeks. And so you're going to miss lessons. And it's easy to say, you miss a lesson, so you don't do the work. Well, that's not going to be the case, I'm afraid, because with the document that we're going to post on Teams in class materials, you will get a little video of what you need to do in each lesson. The video will be no longer than 5 minutes generally. A couple of them are. And this one's going to be a little bit longer as well. So those videos are going to explain exactly what you need to do, and they've also got a hard deadline where you need to submit the work, and regardless if you're away or not, that work needs to be submitted by that date or we will issue a detention. Quite unfair, you could say, but it's really about you managing your time and you looking at what needs to be in at what time, and you looking about your commitments to D&V or whatever and saying, right, this week I don't just need to get those things in, I also need to get that other thing in because I'm not going to be around next week to complete it because you're in the South Downs or somewhere on an expedition. So let's kick off with this document, and we can just have a look at the first page, which is, if I can get it to be a little bit bigger, which is the AQA. AQA have now released what's called the contextual challenges. They are these three down here. So we've got climate change, playing games, securing or storing personal possessions. You're going to choose one of those and you're going to explore it and try and work out how that's going to develop into a project. So many of you, I imagine, will go for playing games, and some of you will develop what you've already done with the electronics game and make that into a final project, which is absolutely fine. Choose one of those, and we're going to be developing that in just a few minutes. But before we do that, I want to go on to... Sorry about that, someone just came in. I want to go on to a couple of things that I would like you to do. I think probably the best way to do this is show you. So I'm just going to go onto PowerPoint. I'm going to go to New. When you get a new slide, can you see that it's very long? And that's because of the projection screens of that sort of size. What I want you to do is go to Design, and I want you to go to Slide Size, and go to Custom Slide Size, and I want you to change it to effectively A4. In actual fact, I want you to change it to 1 centimetre less than A4. So that means the width is going to be 287, and the height is going to be 200. And that will give us A4 size. Okay, it's really important. The second thing I want you to do is save it. Save it to Save As, and I'm going to put it into my downloads. And I want you to call it NEA, and I want you to put your name. Okay, and that's going to go down into my downloads. The final thing I want you to do is go on to Teams. This is not your team. So I'm going to pop onto one of your teams. I want you to go into Files. And can you see I've made a new folder here, NEA. Pop in there. And I want you to make a folder. So that's New Folder. And that would be your name and surname. And once you've done that, double click on that folder and upload your work to there. So it's a case of upload, file, go over to downloads. There it is. And then it's saved. It's really important. It's really important that you always use this file, this file to update your work. I'm just plugging you in. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit distracted. It's really important you use that one file, not one that's at home and then keep on updating it. But if I was you, I would call that something like Mr. Humphrey Edition 1. And then a week into your study, update it, call it Edition 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That means that if at any time your file becomes corrupted, you can always go back to the last edition, okay? And not you've lost a week of your work opposed to 4, 5, 6 weeks of your work. Make sense? Good. Right. So let's go back to this and back up. So we've made our page, we've uploaded it to Teams, always use the latest version. And I've talked a little bit about the lesson clips. If you miss a lesson, there's always a clip for you to look at in your own time, and you can mail me if you have any questions. Or talk to Mr. Vaughan. Mail Mr. Vaughan. He's around as well. So what are we up to today? Well, we're going to be doing the mind map. So the mind map is exploring one of the contextual challenges. You choose which one you want. As I say, playing games seems an obvious one. And then what I want you to do is start off by putting your challenge in the middle, playing games, and then coming out of that, I imagine you'd have your first orbit, and that might be playing games, materials, playing games, locations, playing games. That could be users or clients, playing games, colors, playing games, different rules, for example. And out of each one of those, that first orbit, you then could take that out. And if it was people that play at clients, you could say, it could be my granny, it could be my grandpa, it could be my brothers and sisters, it could be my mum and dad, it could be cousins, it could be dogs, it could be something to do with your fish, for example. It could be a series of different users. And then out of that second orbit might come a product, might come you're like your third orbit, where you might start thinking your gran, she gets bored in the garden. Your gran, she finds it hard to remember certain things. Your gran, she doesn't enjoy going on long car rides. Your gran, so there's these different issues in regards to your nan. And then, one of those, it might have a memory game, for example, comes out of that, or a game which will distract her and helps her to forget that she's on an uncomfortable journey on a train or a car. And play a game which takes half an hour or something, and so that's the idea. And so we've got a series of different, effectively, orbits with a series of products around the outside, potential products around the outside. And I would like you to have at least 5 potential products. And the reason for that is because when we go on to the next page, you're going to be looking at 5 potential products and writing design briefs. So let's have a look at an example. What have we got? This was one of the contextual challenges from last year, studying at home. And then we've got like our first orbit here. And then we've got like our second orbit, all getting a bit mixed up, third, fourth orbit, with, I may add, a series of potential casing designs, which is brilliant. And if you've got the ability, if you've got the time just to draw some pencil sketches on the outside of that, or intermingled with that different sort of researched feedback or your different ideas, that is absolutely incredible. And that is what's going to give you the best of marks for this section. So, as I've said, I've gone on a bit this time because we've gone through a bit of housekeeping, what you need to do, and also this actual page. The last thing I'm going to say is many of these pages will be concluded with PSPs, potential specification points or possible specification points. It's a specification points that come out of this particular page and could be taken forward to form our specification, which is a document at the end of the research. Excuse me. Now, what I would like you to do is, if you are writing down these potential specification points, I would like you to also start inputting them into your specification page. What do I mean by that? Well, let's just jump forward a couple of pages, and we've got some possible specification points here: white in color, plastic material, small, compact, portable, powered by a battery. Once you start writing those down, what I'd like you to do is to go to right at the end of the research, and you'll see your specification here, and I'd like you to start filling in your possible specification points, potential specification points here. So by the time, which is right at the end of this academic year, we get to completing this document, there's going to be a lot of points which are already written in, and the brightest boys amongst you will also give that a bit of justification, because of course you've done the research on that page, and you can refer to the page that you have also conducted that research. I hope that all makes sense. I hope you understand. And again, I apologise for going on, but for the rest of this period, you can get on with the housekeeping, working out which of these contextual challenges you're going to pursue, and then you can start your mind map, which shouldn't take you much more than, I would have thought, half an hour. One last thing, I wouldn't do it on computer. I would definitely get a piece of A4 and do it all on a piece of A4. It looks much better in your folder. Okay,